All right, let's do another drunken rant here. And usually when I do these drunken rants, I've just been drinking a little bit, and I say like drunken rant just because it's kind of the theme I got going. But this time, it's truly a drunken rant. I am like fucking fuck 2 sheets to the wind, 10 sheets to the wind, and we've been drinking a little bit of Heffenweisen and Jameson whiskey black. What a fucking night of fights. I don't know if many of you are MMA fans or UFC fans that watch these videos, but damn, if you are, you know tonight was a great night of fights. And I'm not happy with all the outcomes, but there's 3 championship fights and 3 championship belts changed hands. Fucking crazy night. So I had a good night. Friends and family were over. We got to watch good fights and all that stuff. So great night. I love fucking these moments in life where I'm able to do that. Watch something I truly enjoy and respect with people I love. Oh, small things in life that fucking mean so much to me. I love it. And to have a little bit of spirits with it and enjoy it all. I fucking love it. I live for these moments. We'll all be dead in the ether sooner or later, so you got to enjoy these moments we have. But let's get into some questions here. New ideas. Who is a new subscriber? It has a little criticism for me here. He says, underneath my video, Drunken Rant on Charlottesville, he says, "Listen, culture thug, I am your comrade." Glad to hear that. "And I am with you, but to me, it takes away from your credibility when you wholly accept the mainstream version of the events that occurred at Charlottesville. I'm talking about the kids who drove into that chick. You need to be aware that he was surrounded and attacked while he was in a car. Then he hit the gas, bumped into another car, which hit that chick. I'm pretty sure that he wasn't driving around looking for someone to run down. Plus, she died of a heart attack and not the car." So we'll stop it there. Just answer that part. Like, my opinion on the whole car incident was not based off of mainstream media, but just me watching the video of the car. So having a little bit of experience in the court system, I can tell you he had a lot of pavement to accelerate down before he hit something. And then how did he leave the situation? Was the way he came in. These things don't look good. So what I'm saying is he accelerated down an empty path, whether his car is being hit or not. They'll say that's not imminent danger because you're in your car. There's no imminent danger because all the wax were on his taillights and stuff. That's not imminent danger. I've been through a self-defense case myself. I know like what imminent danger needs to be, at least the perception of it. Because it really doesn't even need to be imminent danger, just the perception of it. So if he has a good lawyer, they'll work on that. But there's a long road of pavement that he accelerated down before he hit something, untouched. And then he reverses and leaves the way he came. That doesn't look good, and they'll bring that up. So that's where my opinion comes from. It doesn't come from mainstream media. I watched very little mainstream media, speculation and their interpretation of the events in Charlottesville. I watched mainly YouTube videos of people's cell phones that were there, and to gauge my own interpretation of it. And one of my interpretations was these motherfuckers don't know how to throw a jab down the middle or fucking any kind of straight punch or stay tight with their boxing or anything. Most of these people look like they never threw a punch in their lives. Both sides, you can laugh all the Antifa fags all you want. Fucking the all right fags are just as bad too. They get hit and they're like, eh. Okay, you can tell they're not fighters. Kudos to them for showing up to a cause they believe in, though, right? I don't want to laugh too much at how ridiculous their fighting was, but kudos to them for showing up for something they believe in. So I'll never, whatever you are, fucking commie, a fucking white nationalist, fucking black nationalist, what BLM, whatever you are, I'll always have a certain amount of respect for someone that shows up for a cause they believe in. So I have that. So I don't want to come off as too demeaning. Don't ever interpret it as that. I always have a certain level of respect for people. Even, what's that troll's name that fucking talk about, I was built for violence. I built my body for violence. And then he gets charged with something. He's like, even faggots like that. Look, I got respect because you know you're going to jail for something you believe in. That's something respectable in itself. But I mean, come on. So, anyways, as far as the car thing goes, I'm making my judgment off what I saw in the raw video. He accelerated down a patch of road that was untouched, and it's not going to look good. And especially if they put a hate crime on this poor kid, then yeah, he's really fucked. Or it's the deck is really stacked against him. Now, did this girl die of a heart attack or not? I've heard that as well. I don't know if it's verified. Even if she did, they can still get him with involuntary manslaughter. I mean, which will still get him, you know, anywhere up to like 10 years, depending on what state he's in. So, you know, it's not a mainstream view. I didn't take the mainstream media view. It's my own interpretation. And what his motive was it fear? Was it anger? You and I don't know. We can just speculate on it. He only knows that. But proving he was in imminent danger, that's going to be a hard thing to prove, especially with the situation we saw on video. He goes on to say, another thing is that it is more likely that the swastikas and KKK were most probably put there by the FBI or something. It doesn't matter. It doesn't matter. If you're a leader of an organization and you call this gathering of people and you see people showing up with hoods and swastika flags, you got to check that right away. Whether they're feds or misguided people or idiots, whatever they are, or just people passionate about whatever their specific beliefs are, you got to check them right away. If you're a leader, you got to take full responsibility, total ownership. I have a video on extreme ownership, the art of leadership, on my Culture Thug video, on my Culture Thug channel. You should check that out. You got to take extreme ownership. You got to take your ownership for that. So if you're a leader of this organization and you're bringing people into this thing, you got to check. Not only do you got to check these people, but you shouldn't leave the scene until all your comrades are leaving the scene safely. That's another thing. But you should definitely check these people with hoods and swastika flags, whatever is going to make you look bad, and tell them, hey, look, dummies, this isn't about you. We're here for a specific reason. Let's stick to that reason. And check them right away and say, hey, if you're not going to listen, get the fuck out of here. We don't support you. Then have all your people line up and chase them the fuck out of there. You got to take responsibility of that. So I don't give a fuck if they're feds or whatever they were. You got to call them out as soon as you see them. You can't keep passing the buck. That's what I don't like about some of this leadership. They always pass the buck for shit. Let's see. I think the alt-right are growing. I disagree. I think they hit their peak and they're falling. And I wholly support them, although I don't agree with everything they say. If they can hit 10% of the population, I think that could be critical mass that it takes. So you're talking about 10% of the population is 30 million people? Hell no. You're not hitting 30 million people. Then what? 30 million what? Fags hiding behind cartoon frogs trolling people? Shut the fuck up. That's bullshit. But look, the alt-right is a step in the right direction. It's better than nothing, but what's the Nietzsche quote? I mean, Nietzsche had a couple quotes about first fighting the enemy and then becoming the enemy, or looking to the abyss to being sucked up by the abyss. This is what the alt-right's doing. They've taken Alinsky and leftist methods, and they're going to be swallowed up by it because leftists are degenerates, and that's why they can ridicule and make humor and do all these things, because they're degenerates. And so you're saying the same shit with the alt-right. These people are degenerates mostly, right? That's why they're hiding behind cartoon frogs and trolling people, because they're shitty people themselves. They're not men of character. They don't put themselves out there. They're not willing to take any risk for their beliefs. So, no, I disagree. I don't see much coming from them. I think they had their peak. I think that was it. The media is going to prop certain people up to be boogeymen like they've done with David Duke forever. And, they'll get their use out of them. The SPLC will be able to say, hey, donate to us. Look, people like Richard Spencer are still around. And Richard will give them all the sound bites they want, to make sure they get their donations. And they'll probably even put money into his coffer, too, just to make sure he stays around. And people like that, which I'm sure they've done with Duke as well and all this stuff. And, that's no knock against them, but that's what the term useful idiot's all about. They're going to use these people for their own agendas. So, that's reality. That's what they've been doing. You think it's magically going to change for some reason? What qualities do you see? New ideas of leadership that I'm missing in these people? Please tell me, because I'm not seeing it. So yeah, I would disagree with that. I think the alt-right is better than nothing, but I think we need to grow to a more populist message, nationalist message. That's where I'm at. That's once again, I'm just trying to be pragmatic and see victory in my lifetime. I don't like this fucking one day shit will get so bad we'll eventually go to war and change shit. I don't like that doomsday scenario bullshit. I've been hearing it since I was 20, and I'm fucking 40 now. Done with it. Don't want to hear it anymore. So, if you want to go support motherfuckers that talk about I'm built for violence, then the God's in charge of me with a fucking little assault crime. That's the kind of people you want to fucking support. That's your own shortcomings, not mine. But you won't goat me into supporting that shit. Nextly, JRC3034 says, I'm a transgendered fascist, and I've gotten a lot of negativity for it. What do you think I should do, Culture Thug? Now, believe this or not, I've had 5 transgender people reach out to me and say they're fascist, or they became fascist, or they've identified themselves as fascist after running across some of my videos. I take extreme pride in that, because that tells me I'm putting a message out there in a good way, where it's attracting people you wouldn't expect to attract. And what I would say to you, JRC3034, is if you're truly a fascist, if you believe in a greater good, a greater reason of life, in a greater society, and a shared destiny, then you should not give 2 fucks about what anyone's saying about you. How can anyone identify you outside of yourself? If you believe you are a fascist, despite whatever sexual confusions you have going on for whatever reasons, your politics or your political views should be known to yourself, and you should be passionate about it. So if you're passionate about it and you believe in the things you know a fascist believes in, then you're a fascist, despite what anyone says. I get called not a fascist or this or that by people because I don't fit in their, certain definitions of what they call a fascist. Do you think I give 2 shits about that? Don't give a fuck at all. I know what I am. I'm passionate about what I am. You should be too. And you shouldn't worry what people say about you. There is no party right now for you to join. There's nothing out there for you to join. So work on yourself. Educate yourself on your politics so you can promote it better. That's all you can do until something comes around to be a part of. Until then, who gives a fuck what people say? Online, they'll say the worst shit. I get called a fucking Jew all the time online. It's like, what the fuck are you even talking about? People, so to worry about that kind of shit, it's pointless. It's pointless. You know who you are. You know what you believe. If you're truly a passionate fascist, that's who you are. Who gives a fuck if someone, you're a faggot, you're this or that. None of that matters. This is all virtual reality on your screen. It's an avatar with some fucking text next to it. Doesn't add up to anything in real life. Who you are and what you do, that's what adds up in real life. So continue to work on that. Who gives a fuck what anyone else says? If you're a fascist and you believe you're a fascist, you're a fucking fascist. That's it. If you're educated on it and you actually know what you're talking about, you're a fascist. It's as simple as that. So to be disheartened by people you don't even know, who to your face has said that? Who do you know that calls himself a fascist that you know in your real life that has tried to shun you away? Fascist isn't about being the misanthrope. The fascist isn't about being, exclusive or shunning people away. The fascist is embracing in his fellow citizen. And that was a hard hurdle for me to jump because I had definitely the tendency to go to being a misanthrope. But that's the reality of it. So if anyone pushing you away, they're simply not a fascist. They're just playing some bullshit fucking elitist game in their own head. SE from Asia. He says, from Singapore, I love your videos and your mindset, but Milo is wonderful. He's responding underneath my questions and answers of gay fascists. SE from Asia, you couldn't be more mistaken. Milo is a degenerate piece of shit and selfish motherfucker. He is not a part of a greater good or anything like that. The reason why he went to conservatism, and this is the issue I have with a lot of homosexuals, is they will support whatever supports their specific group. So if in one instance state rights supports their goals, they support states' rights. If in another instance federal oversight over states' rights supports their agenda, they will go towards the federal oversight. They're completely concerned only with themselves. They're not about the greater good. And this is a lot of them are. And this is the same with Milo. And he said it himself, that he became conservative when he saw like all the liberals were supporting Muslims who were very much against gays. So he went more towards the conservatives who were about freedom and individualism and capitalism and all this shit. And that's why he went there, because it was purely selfish. And dude's a completely degenerate piece of shit. I mean, really? You're going to listen to speeches of him where he talks about, haha, I'm sucking dick and all this shit? This is degenerate. Now, he's a provocateur and he's a degenerate. There's nothing good about this dude. The fact that he's accepted as any kind of, right-leaning or anything in that spectrum is a shame in itself. So shame on you, SE Asia. Shame on you. He's not good. He's selfish. He's about himself. He's about making money. He's an opportunist, and he's a piece of shit, and he's a degenerate. So no, I won't hear that. There's nothing good about that dude. It's disgusting. Anyone that placates him, anyone that laughs at or buddies with him, I just don't accept that at all, in the least bit. So, lastly, Tyler Woodby. Now, Tyler, I recognize you. You've not only do you have a picture of yourself, which I appreciate, you have been commenting under my videos for a while now. So you tell me, or you ask, hello, Culture Thug. I was wondering if you could do a breakdown of the coming corporate state. I got like 7 topics lined up. Probably I'll get to that. I don't know. I've done quite a few things on fascism, but maybe we'll get to that. Also, are you ever planning on doing more on Mosley? Yes, I plan on doing something on his autobiography, My Life. But once again, like I said, I got a lot of things lined up. I'll eventually get to that. Depending how the channel goes. I think my channel gets shut down once it gets a little more steam. So, I don't know. We'll see. We'll see how that goes. But I do plan on that. I want to do something on his autobiography. But we'll see. We'll see how things go. But, Tyler, I want to ask you a question because since you brought this up. I subscribe to the American Black Shirts. And I would advise anyone subscribing to this channel, subscribe to them as well. They put out, decent fascist information. But, so Tyler, underneath one of their videos, let me pull this up real fast. You asked them something. Like I said, I subscribe and I check out what they're doing and all this shit because, you kind of want to be in the loop, seeing what other fascistic-minded people are saying, even though they don't like me and I particularly don't like their method. And they definitely don't like my method. They think I'm, racist, anti-Semitic, Hitler-loving, and all this shit. So, and I think they're fucking cucks and faggots and all this shit. So let's see why I think that. And Tyler, as someone who obviously has been watching my videos for a while, who I hope has been educating himself on fascist ideology, I want to know how an answer like this, and I'll put the screen cap up in the video, but you asked them a question, and part of their answer was this. And I want to know how you would think this has anything to do with fucking what fascism is or what it's about. After watching videos like on Jose Primo de Rivera. And I'm going to do a video on the Ba'athist Party within the next week. And it highlights this as well. But let's look at what he says. Let's look at what this fascist says. He says, however, we have to be a movement of intellectuals that puts our passion only in holding ideals and not achieving goals by any means. We let ideas, not violence, rule the day. Take that, Stefan Molyneux bullshit and shove it up your motherfucking ass. What the fuck are they even talking about? What fascist literature have you ever read, Tyler, that would support anything they said? Fascism is thought in action. Every doctrine from Italy to Germany to Spain to Brazil to Chile to Mexico to America to Britain to Ireland, wherever you want to take the fascist ideology, all believed in thought and action. So how do you accept, because I didn't see you respond to this, like, hey, what the fuck are you talking about? We're only intellectuals. We're actually anti-intellectual. Duh! Where's your response to that? What kind of response is that? Justify that for me, Tyler. How the fuck could you accept that answer? What a fucking cowardly answer. No wonder why they don't show them fucking selves. No wonder why. With a response like that. No wonder why they would not like a person that speaks openly about the Jewish question or things that are controversial. Or that openly says, yeah, Nazism was a German brand of fascism, which it was. Whether people like to admit it or not, they want to run from it or not. It's a reality. So how the fuck is that even anything fascistic? A fascist is a fanatic. A fascist is more than politics. It's a way of life. If we don't beat you in the ballot box, we'll beat you on the fucking streets. That's a fascist. We're not here to win you over and be Gandhi-like. We're here to either convert you or fucking crush you. You are either with us or you're in the way. That's the fascist. Not this bullshit. And I don't say this just because it's my personal opinion. I say this because every fascist philosopher has told me this. And they didn't need to tell me this because I already knew it deep down inside, but they just verified it. So how the fuck, Tyler, could you accept that answer and view yourself as fascistic or view them as fascistic? Maybe now we can more understand why they don't like me and I don't like them with that fucking kind of mentality. And once again, I'm not to shit on them. I encourage you guys to fucking subscribe to their shit because they put out fascist literature. They put out good fascist stuff. They put out either, although contrived and fucking scripted podcasts, they at least put, info out there for you guys to absorb. So I would advise people to check these channels out. But I would also advise you to know what the fuck you believe before you fall for some bullshit. Because that is pure bullshit. So Tyler, please explain to me, how do you accept that answer? And do you believe that to be a reality? That fucking answer? Really? Come on. So I was a little surprised at that. I would like to know your interpretation of that. I saw that a while ago, and I had not really planned on saying anything about it, but since you brought up a question I felt like I needed a response to, I figured I'd throw that in there as well to get your opinion on that. Because like I said, I'm aware of you. You've been commenting for a while, and I appreciate that you put your face out there. So, let's see. I do believe... That is it. Where are we at? 24 minutes right now? Yeah, I do believe. I'll end with one more transgender comment, believe it or not. Skitty the Dictator, I checked out some of Skitty's videos, and it's very introspective of Skitty, digging into the psyche of why Skitty believes the things Skitty believes. Skitty being transgender. Skitty says underneath my The Way of the Samurai video, also I've reached an epiphany in erasing my bigender dysphoria. To have a penis and physically male body is merely enough to make you a boy. To have a vagina and a physically female body is merely enough to make you a girl. But to grow up in spirit is what truly makes someone a man or woman. So my male side was never absent after all. I'm just, due to the fact that I'm still developing mentally, still a boy, not yet a man, and otherwise still a girl, not yet a woman. After watching this video, I understand myself much more. That's good, Skitty. That's good. But here's another thing. Understand you're very fucking young. I'm 40 years old. I'm still figuring myself out. It's a long path, but you're making great steps. Great steps. Keep it up. But it's a long fucking path to figure yourself out. And especially on top of everything else you're dealing with. You have an extra layer of figuring yourself out that I definitely didn't have to deal with. But you do. So it's a long path. If, once again, just like I said to JR3 fucking 65, whatever, if you believe in a greater society and a greater future and a greater purpose of life, this is what truly matters at this state. Not all this individual stuff. This you will work this out within yourself. You're, like I said, I've watched a few of your videos, and I appreciate the stuff that you're very introspective and you delve into why or who you are, and why you are. So I appreciate that, and through doing that, you'll figure out who you are and why you are. But on the macro level, if you believe in the greater society and a greater future and a greater purpose of life, this is what counts. This is what you can build towards and what you can contribute to, despite what anyone says. So good on you, Skitty. Keep figuring yourself out, and I'm glad that video touched you in a certain way to where you're able to figure out more about yourself. That's because reading Yukio Mishima and reading works like the Hagakure helped me understand more about myself as well. So it's very good, and good on you. You're very young and you're very introspective, and these are great things. So good on you for that. Now, outside of that, gentlemen, people confused by what the fuck their sexuality is and all of the above, cheers to you. And remember, if anyone's trying to tell you fascism is about fucking intellectual faggotry, they're so fucking wrong. They're so fucking wrong. It's about being the cultured thug. That's it. That's it. Thought and action. Cheers.